I moved into the house on a crisp autumn evening. The leaves were turning, the air carried a subtle chill, and the neighborhood was peaceful. The house itself was modest but charming, a single-story cottage with creaking wooden floors and a spacious backyard. The rent was surprisingly low, almost too good to be true. It didn't take long for me to notice the problem. The back door refused to stay locked. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe I hadn't turned the deadbolt properly. Maybe the latch was loose. But every morning, I would find it slightly ajar, as if someone had pushed it open in the middle of the night. One night, I decided to test it. I locked the door, pushed the chair against it, and placed a small piece of tape over the latch so I'd know if it had been tampered with. Then I went to bed. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up to a soft creaking sound. My heart pounded. The noise came from the kitchen. The back door was wide open. The chair had been moved aside. The tape was torn. A wave of cold fear settled over me. I searched the house, turning on every light. Nothing seemed out of place. No muddy footprints, no signs of forced entry. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something had been inside. The next day, I went to the hardware store and bought a heavy-duty deadbolt and a security bar. I spent the entire afternoon installing them, convinced that this would finally put an end to the strange occurrences. That night, I fell asleep with a sense of relief. But at exactly 3 a.m., I was jolted awake by a loud, rattling sound. The door handle was shaking violently, as if someone was desperately trying to get in. I grabbed my phone and turned on the camera, my hands trembling. I recorded as the door slowly creaked open. My breath hitched. There was no one there, just the dark, yawning doorway leading to the backyard. I turned on the kitchen light and stepped forward cautiously. That's when I saw them, muddy footprints leading from the doorway into the house. My stomach twisted. I called the police. When they arrived, they found no signs of forced entry. The officer on duty suggested it was probably just the wind or a faulty lock. But I knew better. Determined to get answers, I set up a camera in the kitchen the following night, pointing directly at the back door. I wanted to know what was happening when I wasn't looking. The footage horrified me. At 3 a.m., the door handle started to move, turning slowly, deliberately. Then the door creaked open by itself. A shadowy figure stood just outside the threshold. It was tall and thin, its features obscured by the darkness. It didn't step inside. Instead, it lingered in the doorway, unmoving, for nearly 5 minutes before the door gently shut on its own. I played the video over and over, trying to convince myself I was seeing things. But I wasn't. There was something or someone coming to my house every night. The next morning, I took the footage to the police. They reviewed it, but their response was dismissive. "It's probably just a trick of the light," one officer said. "Or maybe a prank." "Do you have any enemies?" I shook my head. "I don't think so," he sighed. "If you want, we can have a patrol car pass by your house at night." But without evidence of a crime, there's not much we can do. I left feeling more helpless than before. That night, I hardly slept. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward me. At 3 a.m., I sat in my bed, clutching my phone, waiting for the inevitable.